You're watching the Finding Awareness YouTube channel. Today we are going to ask a very important question, which is what are some of the traps I can fall into on the spiritual path? What are some of the traps I can fall into? Why is this question so important? I'm going to give you 7 traps, by the way, 7 problems which can come on the path of self-awareness. I don't even like to use the word spiritual because I don't really know what that word means. And I strictly try to use words which I can define using the ordinary English language. Anybody off the street, and you talk to them using ordinary English language, if you can explain what you mean, then you understand what you're saying. Otherwise, you're just using words, okay? So we are going to talk about 7 different ideas. And wait for the 7th one because that is the most nefarious one, the most widespread one, which creates problems. Why is this question so important? Well, because if you are confusing yourself, if you are convincing yourself that you understand, if you are tricking yourself, then this becomes another way the ego likes to play around, likes to waste time, likes to create more problems while engaging itself in some sort of entertainment. So we want to avoid spiritual entertainment, okay? This is serious work, important work, and if you want to understand yourself, which is basically what it means, self-understanding, then you have to stop tricking yourself, stop deluding yourself by chasing mirages, chasing fantastical ideas, okay? So the very first one is make sure you're not creating a spiritual identity. First one is make sure you're not creating a spiritual identity. Which means what? Which means I look at myself as the awakened one. I look at myself as the spiritual one in the family. My family, nobody understands me, but I have deeper understanding. I have always had deep understanding. I am a deep thinker. You see, so slowly and surely, you're developing an identity which goes along with whatever you have now begun to believe in. I am a teacher, I am a yoga teacher, for example, and I read these books. And reading these books by Ramdas or Krishnamurti or Eckhart Tolle or anybody, by Sadhguru, makes me the spiritual one. And so I start looking at myself as the spiritual one. Having an identity falls on its face when real problems arrive. Because when real problems arrive, it doesn't matter what your identity is. Okay? What matters is, can you think clearly and can you work your way through the problem? So make sure you're not creating these identities. Because when somebody comes along and calls you an idiot, somebody comes along and says you're wasting your time, you're a simple-minded person who has gotten distracted, when your parents say that you are getting into these things, when you're supposed to follow spirituality, etc., in your 70s and 80s, what are you doing in your 20s and 30s? It's going to hurt you. Why? Because you have taken up an identity. So that's the first trap. Do not take up an identity. You are simply trying to observe yourself. That's it. You are a nobody. And that's the only identity you should cultivate. Second is expecting people in your life to be spiritual. That's a second trap. Why is this a trap? Because once you start understanding yourself a little bit, you are inadvertently, inevitably going to expect your partner, your brother, your sister, your parents to be like you. And that means you're going to try and change them. You're going to recommend books to them. You're going to say, oh, I follow this person online. Can you please follow them too? Can you join their course? Can you buy their book? Nothing. Okay? Nothing doing. You cannot change other people. If you try to change other people, it only cultivates violence in relationships, resentment, anger in relationships. It destroys relationships. They are on their own individual path. Their path has got nothing to do with your path. Make sense? So do not expect anybody to understand you or follow you. Third, repeating without understanding. This is a big trap because we love to repeat words. We are obsessed with words, especially when we read religious texts, especially when we read spiritual words, spiritual texts, and we go into ideas like my kundalini is awakening, or my third eye is opening, or quantum healing, or this or that. And do you actually understand these things? So when you repeat to anybody that everything, Advaita, Vedanta, everything is one, do you actually understand what that means? Or are you only convincing yourself that you understand? Are you only pretending to understand? Pretending to understand is not understanding. Repeating what somebody else has said is not understanding. Can you say what you mean and can you speak only from your own personal experience and not repeat what other people are saying? Because if you do, then you become a second-hand individual, then you become a parrot which somebody has trained to speak like them. And we don't want to do any of those things. We don't want to repeat what somebody else has said or try to convert somebody or try to convince someone at all. can you say what you mean without using fancy words, without using words like enlightenment, without using words like even spirituality? See, because who knows what that means? Can you just use the word self-awareness? Can you walk the path of self-awareness? Or can you understand yourself? Because if I repeat what the Vedas say, the scriptures say, or the other religious books say, then I am simply taking their word for it. I am suspending my doubt. Okay, I'm suspending my rational thinking, and I'm simply assuming that I know. Well, assuming you know doesn't solve anything. The problems in your life are not going to go away. Fourth problem is getting attached to your guru. Okay, getting attached to your teacher. There is an inordinate number of gurus being pushed out by India, but pushed out even in the West now, and they are being manufactured. Like almost there is a system which throws these people out, and you'll see them with beards, dressed up like something, with a big thing on their head. And you can rest assured that somebody who looks like a guru is not a real teacher. Why? Because they are attached to the identity of a guru. They are attached to the way they are looking. You see, they are attached to their own religiosity. They are attached to their own culture. They are attached to their own ideology. And they will say, I'm not attached to anything. And then they will gently push a certain religion, gently push a certain ideology. And you will notice this if you carefully observe anybody who appears like a guru. First test is if they appear like somebody, they are attached to that attire. They are attached to that appearance. And therefore, they cannot be telling you the truth when they say, I'm not attached to anything. Make sense? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you get attached to somebody and tomorrow that person's scandal comes out, whether they are doing some sexual stuff, whether they are doing some illegal stuff, whether they are amassing a great deal of wealth, whether they are hanging out with corrupt politicians, you become the fool. You become the idiot because you have given your entire life to chasing somebody, to serving somebody. So don't serve anyone. Don't follow anyone. Don't try to lead anyone either. Do not be attached to your guru, because that is a surest path to suffering. Surest path. Okay? There is no other way to describe it. Everybody has something of value to offer. Take what's valuable, leave the rest. Fifth one, trusting before doubting. It's a very important one. Most of us love to trust these guru figures, love to trust anybody who claims authority. Why should you trust somebody before you doubt them? Anything even I say on my website or Instagram, etc. In the book, I always say, I want your doubt. I do not want your trust. I do not want your trust. I want your doubt. Anything that is said by anybody, you should be willing to put their feet to the fire. You should be willing to ask them extremely difficult questions. You should be willing to push them to answer accurately, answer in ways which do not defy logic, in ways that do not ask for certain trust, in ways which do not pretend that they have certain knowledge. Because if they pretend to have certain knowledge, if they have an air of authority around them, you are going to start following, and after that you become their intellectual slave. Whatever direction they point to, you look in. They say jump, you jump. You see, then you become a total servant to somebody intellectually, and you should never ever allow yourself to do that, because that hampers your inward journey, that stops you from understanding yourself, because your life's problems are going to continue. Okay, so always doubt before you trust. No trust before you doubt. Doubt before you trust. Okay, then we come to the sixth one, which is obsessing over spiritual experiences. Anyone who seriously walks the path of self-awareness at some point is going to have certain experiences which can be labeled spiritual, which can be labeled something or the other. You have to make sure you don't get attached to them. You have to make sure you don't describe whatever you're feeling as if I'm seeing colors, I'm seeing this, what does that mean? I'm feeling pain at the back of my neck, wonder what's happening. I am becoming extremely sexually aroused. I don't know what's happening. Is that my basal chakra opening? Please do not get obsessed with experiences. The reason is, if you get obsessed with these experiences, then you get caught up in some sort of entertainment. You start chasing entertainment. You see, you start chasing experiences. And this is not about chasing certain experiences. This is about understanding human relationships. This is about understanding why I don't get along with my mother, my father, why my partner is attracted to somebody, doesn't want to be with me, why my friends are jealous of me, why they're insecure, why I am insecure and jealous of other people, why I am so acquisitive, competitive. see, disturbed from within, disrupted, divided from inside my own mind, completely caught up in conflict. See, fear, anger, hate. Why can't I love somebody properly? Why can't I love anything properly? Why can't I do something fully? This is all about understanding that this is not about chasing stupid experiences. So please, please, please do not get attached to experiences. And the last one, the seventh one, do not chase enlightenment. Okay, do not chase enlightenment. This idea of enlightenment is the most nefarious thing there is, because it is the most fantastical experience there is. See, people who chase enlightenment will tell you in the same breath that enlightenment doesn't come to anybody who is chasing experiences. This is not like chasing a Ferrari and I want to buy an expensive car, or I want to become a millionaire, or I want to do this or that. If you're chasing experiences, you're still caught in Maya, they will tell you. And then they will tell you, but the experience of enlightenment is quite something special. And then they will try to make you chase that experience. See, you see the trap there, you see the foolishness in chasing something like enlightenment. The only question you have to ask yourself is, does the enlightened person have any problems in their life? Okay, if they do not have any problems in their life, it doesn't matter if they are enlightened. Okay, if they do not have any problems in their life, it doesn't matter if they're enlightened. What matters? What matters is they do not have any issues in their life. Their relationships are working, their inner mind is working, it's healthy, they are not addicted to stuff. See, they are not obsessed, they are not identified, they are not aggressive. See, trying to dominate people, etc., trying to prove they are smarter, more intelligent, more wise than anybody else. And if they don't have any problems in their life, what matters if they are enlightened or not? What matters? Who cares? Only thing that matters is, are you solving every single problem that comes along your path? What is your relationship to your own past? Or are you hating people in your past? Are you struggling with solving certain traumas that you have experienced, your insecurities, your fears? See, that's what is important. So make sure that you avoid all these 7 traps on the path of self-awareness, on the path of self-understanding. And if you do, all you have to do is keep away from these traps, and you will keep understanding yourself more and more and more, and your life will become less and less problematic. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. If you want to understand this process, come join our community. Thank you for being here.